Hola, mi amigos. Yo soy St.Christopher, and this is the Writer's Block, a book review show where I tell you if a book is good enough that I would recommend it to a friend, or so bad that I would chop it in half with an axe. Today on the Writer's Block, The Handmaidens' Tale by Margaret Atwood. I am in a giant conundrum with what to do over this book. The plot starts off that there has been a revolution of religious proportion, and something dastardly is happening in America. Women are no longer allowed to freely dress. Gigantic restrictions have been put onto women's rights, and society has been reorganized. The character we're focused on has a fake name of Offred. She is a handmaiden who serves a commander and a wife. Basically what that means is she lays back and gets plowed against her will, and then goes on walks with her friends in her spare time. In the society that she's in, there are spies everywhere, and you have to worry about whether somebody's going to sell you out for not believing in the God that they tell you to believe in. Overall, not a great time for women. One of the strong things that this book does is identifies that people are unhappy in a fully controlled state by the government. There's a scene after chapter 10 where the commander, who is, I guess you would call the appointed head of the household, is having sex with his handmaiden so that they can produce a child. The handmaiden has her hands pinned back by the wife, and they're all just kind of laying there. It's a great description that the man is just kind of buying time. There's no passion. It's like his thrust is just like a water tap dripping. Like he's drumming his fingers on the table. It's all become this routine, soulless and void of energy and fulfillment. For a purpose, though, for a greater good, so we're told. This is a point I think that the book makes very well, is that under this regimented regime, nobody is happy. They're all in their positions, they're all fulfilling their duty, but nobody is actually doing what they want. Not even the people in positions of power. The world that she creates is very vivid and distinct, although it is hard to explore because of the tense that we're using. We are inside a woman's perspective, and so everything is explored through her eyes. So instead of having an overlay of what the world looks like, we're only seeing what she does. Now, I wouldn't say that this is a weakness. I would just say it's a restriction. Instead of the world being portrayed as what it is, we are slowly fed little samples of what the world is through either her exploration of the world around her or through interactions with different people and how she has to act with those people. It is a slow read, and one of the problems that this book runs into is getting caught up in the thought process of the main character. It might be a Margaret Atwood thing. I have not read enough of her literature to know if this is a stylistic choice or just her writing style, but there are tacked on sentences that makes it feel like you're just getting extra homework. When she walks out into the courtyard, she says that there are lampposts and they're not on because it's not nighttime. I don't need to know that they're not on, and I don't need to know the reason why they're not on is because it's not nighttime. You just say that there are lampposts and you've already established that it's the daytime. I get that this could be considered character, and it couldn't just be considered, it is character. This is the thought process of how the person thinks. But it's just annoying. It slows down the flow of reading this book. And the first 10 chapters are excruciating is too strong of a word, but difficult to get through. And again, you could argue that this is a stylistic choice. You're trapped in this woman's world, and you only get to see what she gets to see. That is either the most brilliant display of artistic writership or just bad writing, and I don't know which one it is. I don't know if I'm supposed to feel claustrophobic, like I have my own white wings coming down over my eyes to shield me from the world around me, or if this book just has poor exposition and explanation of what's going on in the first 10 chapters. The middle of this book is where it picks up, and I think this book fucking sails with full sheets of wind. It gets going, and it is good. If you have any doubt that Margaret Atwood is a good writer, you can probably pick a page and find a magical sentence. That's not up for debate. What's up for debate is just the pacing of this book. It slows down a bit at the end as well. I'm not sure that it has a very strong ending. No, that's not true. I like the message that this book has, and maybe I'm getting the wrong message. But this is what I've seen. When you are so frightened for your life, you will accept the unfair ideology, and you will do whatever it takes to uphold it so that you can feel safe underneath it, even if it goes against your natural instincts and even if it goes against everything that is good within you. That is the turning point of our character at the very end. Spoilers. And I think it's a very powerful turning point. However, I don't know if we get there soon enough. And I don't know if I would recommend this book to someone and say, just stick with it to the end. This book, to me, has the same pacing as Catcher in the Rye, where in the middle, it's this kind of beautiful mess. And it leads to this striking point. But in the beginning, you're kind of wondering what's going on. And it's interesting, but you don't know why interesting is important. Would I recommend this book to someone? It's not a bad book, but I don't know if I would recommend it. Like, it's a good book, but I don't know if I would recommend it. I've reread it already once, just to try and get a grip on if each chapter is important, and it is. I don't like the style. I think it's annoying. This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to open it to a random page, and I'm just going to read a paragraph, and if I like it, it stays, and if I don't, it doesn't. That's how divided I am on this book, that I'm just going to leave it completely up to chance. And to be fair, I'm going to open it from somewhere in the back. Page 209. Someone has come out of the house. I hear the distant closing of a door, around at the side, footsteps on the walk. It's Nick. I can see him now. He stepped off the path onto the lawn to breathe in the humid air which stinks of flowers, of pulpy growth, of pollen thrown into the wind in handfuls, like oyster spawn into the sea. All this prodigal breathing. He stretches in the sun. I feel the ripple of his muscles go along him, like a cat's back arching. He's in his shirt sleeves, bare arms sticking shamelessly out from the rolled cloth. Where does the tan end? I haven't spoke to him since that one night. Dreamscape in the moon-filled sitting room. He's my only flag, my semaphore, body language. Right now his cap's on sideways. Therefore I am sent for. See, this is why I hate this book, because it's good. One picky thing I have, again, I would have to read the rest of her work, is every one of Margaret Atwood's characters a writer that just picks apart literature and literary phrases? If so, lame. But this book stays. It gets off the block.